What happens if you take this, but you play it like this? Today we're going to take a look at textural sample libraries. What are they and how do they work? And who needs them and what are they used for? I'm going to take you through my personal collection and hopefully answer all of your questions. Let's go! So what is a textural sample library? Well, I don't think there's any clear or standard definition, but to me they are sample libraries that take acoustic recordings of instruments and present them in a way so that you can play them like a synthesizer. I think that's my best answer and my best definition. And why do you need these sample libraries? Well, sometimes you need to fill in the gap between acoustic instruments and electronic instruments. And sometimes you need music that is dead simple, one note, but you need that note to be alive, and that's where textural sample libraries really come into their own. I'm going to take you through my own little collection of sample libraries based on textures. Just a disclaimer, I don't work with any of these brands. I have bought all of these instruments with my own money, and I collected them over a long period of time, so I didn't go out and buy them all in one go. So if you don't have any sample libraries like this, don't worry, you can collect over time if you're interested in sounds like these. Another important thing to mention is that while most of these sample libraries are based on orchestral instruments, they do not replace orchestral sample libraries. They complement orchestral sample libraries, and I think any composer toolbox should have like a bit of both. They also don't replace synthesizers or electronic instruments. They complement those too, and they sit quite well in between acoustic and electronic elements. Okay, let's dive in. All of these sample libraries, they have their own interfaces, they have their own way of working, and you have to like learn them one by one. But I'm going to walk you through a couple of the ones that I own and that I use, more importantly maybe. First up is actually the first sample library of this kind that I bought, and it's Arkhis by Orchestral Tools and Native Instruments. And I think it's part of one of the complete bundles from Native Instruments or as a standalone plugin. And it runs in Contact. And it sounds like this. The way the interface is set up for this instrument is that you have these three different layers, and you can choose recorded textures from a number of categories. Orchestral instruments, orchestral sections like woodwinds or brass, string ensembles of different sizes. There's also some vocals and harp, and some more uncommon instruments like hang drum, dulcimer, mandolin. There's really it's a wide selection of instruments, and you set up, you choose one sort of instrument for every layer, and then you use your mod wheel, and you blend in the layers. So first comes layer 1, then comes layer 2, and layer 3. And you can really pick and choose between these different recorded textures and have a lot of fun trying the different ones out. There is also like a global volume control with CC11 expression. And I think you can map other controls also. There are some effects, both global effects and per layer effects. There is also an LFO, and if you're not familiar with the term LFO, it's a low frequency oscillator. And you know, an oscillator is something that gives away a waveform, and a low frequency oscillator might do a waveform like this, and you can use that to modulate different stuff in your instruments. And this one has an LFO, and you can modulate like a filter or the effects or other stuff. The like big pro of this instrument is that the textures are very nicely recorded, and they all seem to fit very well together, so it's kind of easy to find something that you like. Although I have mostly used it for, you know, different kind of long string textures and blend them together. I think that's my main usage, but I have also used some of the other sorts of instruments, like the hang drum and mandolin can be very haunting and beautiful if you just blend in a little bit of it. It's also a very clear interface, it's a very like simple idea. It's easy to get how the instrument works and get something going, start to playing with the controls, start playing. I would say that the main like con of this instrument is that a lot of the deep features are also like deeply hidden. So the effects page, you have to press an icon, and the ADSR, in this case actually a HDSR control, kind of well hidden. The LFO, you have to dig a little bit before you find it and how to modulate. But that's more, I think the idea is that you have some basic features that are very easy to understand and some more advanced features that are hidden for the basic user, whatever. And you can be a professional and only use this in a sort of a basic mode, I think. But I really like this instrument. I've had it for many years, and I use it often, and it sounds beautiful and easy to understand. So Arkhis, like this one. Next up is Lors from Evolution series, or also Native Instruments. I think this is also in one of the complete bundles, and it sounds like this. As you maybe can hear, this is inspired more of folk instruments. This is also an instrument that is based on having 3 layers of instruments. And actually, you choose an instrument, and then you can actually set up 3 different like articulations. So for example, the first one in this preset is alto flute, and we have this broken waves. I soloed this, so you can hear only this one. I don't know if you see this little bar, but that's how long the articulation recording is. But you can also add Sounds like that. So that means that you have 3 instruments with 3 articulations each. That makes for like 9 different articulations at once. And you can go into every like layer here and you can adjust volume, panning, pitch, the mapping of the keyboard so that you can have different instruments for different ranges of the keyboard. And the instrument selection is a couple of different ones here. Clarinet, soprano sax, baritone sax, alto flute, trumpet, shakuhachi, medieval pipes, double bass, cello, violin, viola da gamba, nyckelharpa, horse, fiddle, Comanche, hurdy-gurdy, and voice. Comes with a bunch of presets. And I think the instrument selection of this one is, I mean, it's folk-inspired lores, you know, but I would say that these also blend very well with, you know, orchestral instruments and stuff like that. And I actually use this instrument a lot. Very nice sounds, and all of the recordings are so long, so they are easy to have, you know, have breathable. My main issue with this one is, I think the interface, I kind of struggled sometimes with where to find the different things in the interface. I always forget where to find them. Maybe that's on me if I just took the time to learn it better, but yeah, you know. You can also, I mean, the presets are maybe a bit too much. I think that if you're going to use this library, I mean, play around with the presets to get a hang of it, but use it like sparingly, because I think, I mean, there are presets in here. You can just press one note and you get a lot of music. And I think that's, it's easy to spot, maybe. You kind of want to have your like presets hidden a little bit in case people hear it and recognize it. I don't know if that's a big issue, but well, when I hear music on film and TV and I recognize presets, it's like, it's that one, you know. Maybe it doesn't matter. But my suggestion would be to play around with the presets, but create your own and use it a bit sparingly. But the textures recorded here are very beautiful. You can also, and this one, it's very nice GUI here. I think this is like the proximity of the mic position, and it's very nicely animated when you do it like this. Yes, I think Loris is a very nice instrument, sounds beautiful. And very usable instrument textures, even if you're not composing like folk music. Next up is Fables, which is a sister library to Loris. This is more kind of classical, sounds like this. Yeah, I think this one has like the same pros and the same cons as Loris. Beautiful sounds. The instrument selection on this one is like ambient guitar, bass flute, cello double bass, female choir, male choir, French horn, low brass, low winds, pads, effects, low percussion, metallic percussion, tuned percussion, violin and waterphone. So a bit more orchestral, but also, you know, synth instruments, sort of. And I think this has the same pros and cons. It beautiful textures, but maybe the presets are a bit too much. This is actually a very nice preset. I could use this today. That one is maybe a little bit more easy to spot if you know this library. Yeah, sounds in this library is very nice. So this one too, you know, play around with it, play around with the presets, get a feel for it, and then, you know, make your own. A lot of very usable textures in this one, I think. Lores and Fables. I think there is a third one now in this series that I don't own, I haven't used, but I think it's there. Next up is Thrill. Thrill is so satisfying to play with. I really like this instrument. And it's also Native Instruments in collaboration with Galaxy Instruments. And the idea here is that you have two like sound sources that you can choose. And there are a lot of orchestral instruments, electronic instruments, some very specific like percussion stuff, modern percussion. You choose one on the left side, one on the right side, and then you have this XY pad, and you know, in this direction it blends between the two sound sources, and in this direction it controls, I think they call it the thrill factor, and they're basically a bunch of macros being activated when you push this to the top. But this means that you can hold on a note like I just did and get a lot of stuff happening just with this XY pad. And I think if you have an XY control, this is, I mean, it works, you know, with the mouse, but if you have an XY pad, you know, a physical XY pad of some sort, even more satisfying to play with. And this was like a more, you know, tension one, but there is also like, aggressive. Some of these ones are purely orchestral, like this one, and they make a good complement to any orchestral library because these kind of sounds, I mean, you could get an orchestra to play these kind of sounds, but it's very hard to do it with a sample library if you don't have textures like these recorded. So Thrill, also very nice tool, a little bit of a different setup with the XY pad. I have used these on a number of different projects, and I think it's very nice, very useful, also very good selection of textures, both orchestral and more hybrid and electronic. It makes a nice complement to any lineup, I think. Moving on with Emergence Audio, kind of a new sample library company. And it's founded by a film and TV composer. I think his name is Mike Vignola. And what they have is something that they call the Infinite Motion Engine. And it kind of works like a synthesizer, but you have two sound sources. And all of their libraries, I think, are based on this infinite motion engine. They just fill it with different samples. So here is the cello textures. So you have two sound sources with individual ADSR control. And ADSR is, of course, attack, decay, sustain, and release. You can link them together so they are the same or not. You can control volume, and then there's, filters with resonance, panning, and a whole bunch of different effects. And the main, selling point of this is that you have like a master LFO, and that LFO can control basically anything. So it can control all the various parameters of like the filter or panning, or any parameter of the different effects. It can also control like this huge knob in the middle is like the mix knob. So if you turn it left, you get more of this sound source, and if you turn it right, you get more of that sound source. You can automate this with the LFO so that it blends between the two sound sources. And they have a little waveform representation of the sound source, and you can see the first one here has a flautando loaded, and it's a long sample and very like textural. And I think that's the other ingredient that make these libraries a favorite among many composers. I see people talk about these libraries online all the time, and I really like it too, because, well, this one that I have loaded up is a multi. So you have two instances of cello textures, and just listen to these sounds. Can you hear how alive that sounds? But also, I mean, if I got a bunch of cellists together, I could never create something that sounds like this, because it's equal parts, a really nice recording of really, thought through articulation, combined with this amazing technology and effects. And let me get another one. I mean, can you imagine that is just like one cello playing, but in this very clever setup? Yeah, I think this library is so good. Let me play you one of the individual ones, like just a pad. if I could make like a wish list for a feature, this is Infinite Motion Engine 2.0. If I could make a wish list for your Emergence audio, I mean, if you had a gate sequencer in this one, I mean, of course you can add a gate sequencer. It's, you know, there are free plugins for that. But if this had a built-in gate sequencer and a feature for granular synthesis, like turn one of the layers into a granular synth and combine it with a sample, you would have a powerful tool. Just saying. I also have the double bass textures. I have one other Emergence audio library, but these are the 2 string ones I have. I have not tried the brass one. I have not tried the woodwinds libraries, but Emergence audio, if you're listening, I would love to try them. Double bass, also very good. Like it works exactly like the cello one, just double bass. I know, can you see how slow this like needle or whatever it is works its way? Because the samples are so long. And that's why even if you just hold down one note, it plays a long time, and they are perfect for making like drones. And you know the ones, you know the cues that the director wants, like I just want a dark tone. These are perfect for that. Yeah, so I really recommend these. Emergence Audio. Get in the know of Emergence Audio and their products. Just saying. All right, let's move over to some Spitfire audio. And here I have one of the patches from Albion 1. And Albion 1, the Albion libraries from Spitfire Audio, I'm sure you know this, but they are like packages of different tools, like a complete toolbox. And they have different characters. So Albion 1 is like made for like blockbuster film scoring, which I don't do at all. But I mean, can we just talk a little bit how useful Albion 1 is? I mean, if you are looking for a sound, chances are it's already in Albion 1. They have these different like rhythmic loops and rhythmic tick instruments. They have this, you know, sort of synthesizer with orchestral sounds, some hybrid sounds, and of course, ensemble patches for the orchestra. It's a very good package. If you want me to do a video all about Albion 1, write a comment and I will make a video about Albion 1, because I think Albion 1 it's a very good package and very useful for a lot of people, I think. But one of the things that they have is this, they call it the Stevenson's Steam Band, and it kind of works like the Emergence Audio, just not as sophisticated, I think. But you have two, basically, they call it like tape decks, so that you have two sound sources, and there are a lot of sound sources, but these are made more for looping, I think, than long articulations. But two sound sources, you have this, you can mix between them, and you have some controls for filters, for pitch, and for like, let's see, and this one has a gate sequencer, which I was missing from Emergence Audio, and then a whole range of different effects. And I will say that the sounds in this is also very like useful and very nice. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. in a lot of these patches, the mod will do something. I think this interface is a bit harder to understand. I know a lot of people struggle with it, myself included. It's not very exact with these like filter controls, but you can get a lot of great stuff out of the presets and tweaking the presets. That's what I used for, and I use these sounds all the time, actually. Very useful. I also have some of the other Albions, and I'm going to play through some of them, and they work in the same way, just with different sounds. This is Tundra. And the sounds of Tundra is, the idea is a very large orchestra playing very quiet. I think Tundra is one of the best Albions. It's hard to choose, but I really like Tundra. Very nice orchestral sounds, and very nice these Stevenson's sound. Then we have Albion Neo, which is a chamber-size orchestra. And the sounds in Albion Neo is sort of tailored to, I think they even call it Scandinavian minimalism, and I think I'm sort of a Scandinavian, well, not minimalist, but you know, for your Scandinavian crime dramas, you should use this Spitfire audio says, and I mean, why not? There are some good sounds in here. Also have Albion Solstice, which is also a really good library, and it's more catered towards like folk music stuff, but in a very cinematic way. I think the sounds included in the Albions are very good. Maybe a bit of a clunky interface. But if I could make a wish list for Spitfire, actually, I don't know if you're listening, Spitfire, I have a lot of your products and I use them daily. But if I could make a little wish, I would really like to have, you know, that every time you buy a library that uses this engine, the eDNA engine, you add it like a bank so that every instance of eDNA can access all of the sounds that you have. So let's say you have Albion 1 and then you buy Albion Neo, then you could combine the sounds of Albion 1 and Albion Neo in one of these eDNA instances. I think that could be a very powerful feature and really add value to existing customers. I think the new version of this, it's called Solar, and I have one of those libraries as well, but that's not really an orchestral library, so I didn't include it here. But let's say you have that instrument and then you could just access all of the samples from the different Albions, for example, the ones you own. What about that, Spitfire? I think that would be nice. I mean, I really like them the way they are, but yeah, for the wish list. Lastly, I included this also, Orchestral Swarm, which is not played like a synthesizer. It's just that the articulations are very like textural. Listen to this. Yeah, really farty orchestra. Yeah, of course this is the horns patch, but the idea here is that you have kind of a swarmy sound. And if I mean, you could recreate this with a live orchestra. It's just kind of hard because you have to give kind of specific instructions. So I include it anyway, and I have used it a lot. And you don't use it like on its own, but you can add it, just add some, you know, a little bit of sprinkle on top with this one. Could be very nice on an orchestral score. Okay, so these are some texture libraries that I own and that I use, and I like to use all of them. I have some wishlist features for some of them, but all in all, I think all of these are very good products. And maybe when I played through some patches, you could maybe even hear some usages for these. Like I said, I think they are good for bridging the gap between acoustic and electronic instruments. If you only can afford one solo player, then accompanying them with some of these libraries could be a very good choice. Because, I mean, since they don't sound like a live orchestra, you don't have to program it so it sounds realistic. It doesn't sound realistic, but it sounds familiar because you recognize the sounds, but it sounds like a synthesizer of orchestral sounds. These sorts of libraries are very popular. And there are a lot of them, and these are the ones that I own and use. But if you think I should try some other ones, I try to keep an eye on the market, and there are some that I would like to try. But maybe in the future I can give an update on some other libraries of this kind. If you thought this was useful, then I mean, you should like this video so more people can find it, and subscribe to my channel because I post new videos on topics just like this one every week. And I will see you on the next one. Cheers!